debilitating. You can't function because of this. Like, same thing with anxiety, same thing with stress. So there's a big difference. So I just want to make that one thing clear. It's okay to feel these things. All right, can I sit down? Sure. Okay, I think standing up is too much for me. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's okay to feel these things. It's really not good to sit in those things though without addressing them. Some things you can do when you're feeling these things of, you know, maybe like you're feeling sad a little bit longer than usual because, you know, you're going into the unknown. Some things you can do is, I know it's gonna sound corny because it sounded corny to me when I was in college and they were telling me this is what I need to tell to the person, but it really isn't. So like journaling is a really good thing to write down, because sometimes you don't want to tell someone else, but if you write it down and then like go back later and reflect on it, it's actually very helpful. And the ones that I'm going to tell you are the ones that I've actually done myself. So yeah, journaling is really good. And then also years later, you guys are young, but years later when you go back and look, you're actually going to laugh at like everything that like you were talking about and stuff. But anyway, you can do some journaling. Prayer is very, very important. Talking to God. Exercise, getting out in nature is also very good. Talking to a mentor, somebody that you look up to, and also talking to your parents. A lot of us when we're younger think that our parents really don't understand, but we forget that our parents were exactly our age at one time. So your parents really do have the best like intention for you, even when it can feel like they don't. So you can talk to your parents in those times. Oh, okay. So yeah, talking to your parents, talking to a trusted friend. I would be careful with the friend. I would say, I know this isn't a faith-based organization, but I would say make sure that that person shares the same faith as you, because then they can steer you in a direction that you don't need to be going. So it has to be like a like-minded individual to share like how you're feeling with that person. And then also that first year, like when you go to college, college can be the best years of your life, where you leave feeling no regret, you did your work, you had fun, like, or they can be kind of the worst years of your life, where you did your work, you got your degree, but now you have all these regrets. And that also can cause, like, that can also get you in your mind once you graduate, like, because you regret all of these things that your parents protected you from, but now you have the independence to make these choices behind their backs. And you feel that regret when you come back home and come back into your parents' home and back into your community. And it's kind of lawless. You're just looking around like, oh my gosh, because, you know, our parents have shielded us from all these things. So just be careful with, I really want to be real. Okay, like promiscuity, drugs, alcohol, it's everywhere in college, okay? And a lot of people regret the things that they did with those things, because it seems like something so small, and then next thing you know, you find yourself continuing to do it outside of college. A lot of people come in thinking, oh, I'm just gonna do a little bit in college, you know, everybody's doing it. No. Like, and then you end up getting out of college and you're still doing it, and you're just like, why am I still doing this? And you're trying to figure out why your life is not like going according to plan, and it's because of these things that are carrying outside from college. And then that also messes with your mental, health. So just be aware with that. It can seem like it can seem when you're in college that everybody's doing it, but you'd be very surprised. There are plenty of people. It's not like high school. High school, you have a very small amount of people that you have to choose from to be friends with. In college, it's way bigger. So choose your friends wisely. It is so important. Like he was talking about with the financial aid, college, this is not free anymore. You are paying for this. So that extra semester, that extra year, that's extra thousands of dollars. So yeah, like choose your friends wisely because your friends can definitely steer you in wrong directions. Don't be peer pressured and know that literally, like you have so many people rooting for you, like, and just, this is like the one time in your life that nobody wants anything from you. They just want you to do your work and graduate. Like that's it. Everybody's supporting you. Like everybody's so happy. Everybody's talking good. And there's no pressure of like, oh, I have to get a job. Well, some, but it's like everyone's supporting you. So just use your resources. Yes, use your resources if you're ever feeling stressed. A lot of times you might even feel lonely, but guess what? Just look, there's so many different organizations. I was part of Student Government Association, and it was a whole bunch of people that were student leaders, that were like-minded individuals, that were all going towards the same direction. You don't need to do all that other stuff to have fun, because it can definitely take a toll mentally later in life. So please be careful with that. 1 second. Okay, so another coping skill that you can use when you're feeling these feelings is positive self-talk. I know it sounds really weird, but it's not. I do it all the time. Positive self-talk is when you tell yourself like, all right, I got this. All right, like, nah, like what's the worst that can happen? Even when you're waiting for those college applications to get back, what is the worst that can happen? You get a no? That's okay, that's a no, but the next one is gonna be a yes or whatever, you know? So just like talk positive to yourself because you are your worst, what's the word? Thank you, you're your biggest critic. So be positive, give yourself leeway, be understanding with yourself. Cause that can definitely help you avoid like all these things that can arise, like I said, like feeling overly sad, anxious, nervous. Deep breathing also works, and it works for me. It might not work for everybody, but it works for me. And then when you're in school and maybe you're feeling overwhelmed or things like that, you can go to your student center and you can ask them for resources that are available for counselors. So you can, if you don't have like a mentor, if maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to your parent, which you should, but I can understand. We all go through it when we're teenagers. You can ask them if they have like counselors available, and they usually do, especially in this day and age. When there's so much emphasis on mental health, and they will probably direct you in places to go. And also be mindful of the food that you're eating. Let me tell you, injera is the way to go, all right? All this junk that my parents would tell me about, they was right. That messes with your like body chemistry and all of that. So lastly, I'm gonna read it straight up. All right. So lastly, I was feeling a little bit nervous yesterday, thinking about talking to you guys. And so, I hit my girl up and I said, what, can you tell me something I can say? And she said something so beautiful that I said, you know what, I'm gonna read this directly. So here we go. Can I read it directly? All right, thank you guys. All right, so she said, also for coping mechanisms, if you know of any resources that the university provide, then that can be good for stress. That can be good to add like counseling, prayer rooms, joining clubs and organizations to make friends and not feel alone at a large university can help to have people to lean on. And I feel like reminding them it's not the end of the world if they don't do well in class. And I was like, yeah, that's real. Because I had a breakdown in a hallway when I didn't pass a class one year, and it wasn't even worth it, but okay. Sometimes plan B and C can work out really well. It's okay not to have every single thing figured out in college because sometimes things won't go as planned, and that's okay, because that's life. And that's the reality of life. I feel like the topic of failure is very important because it's inevitable in life. because no one is perfect, but knowing how to grow from it instead of feeling helpless is what's important. That's a good one. Key takeaway, guys. And lastly, all right, so, and then she gave me a really good quote that I really like as well. And the she that I'm talking about is this young lady standing behind me. So happiness is not the absence of problems, it is the ability to deal with them. So I hope that with my shaky voice and my quickly prepared speech, you guys were able to get some type of key takeaway. Yeah, just reach out to people. That's what we're here for. And everybody in this room loves you, and that's why they put this thing together. So it was a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sanait. So lastly, we'll just have Dr. Gideon to just kind of wrap up this event. So, Dr. Gideon.
Am I allowed to speak in Tigrinya?
Sure, go ahead, knock yourself out.
All right. መጀመሪያ እንኳ አጎሰኩም ክብለን ወለድ ካብቲ ተፈጥሮ ዳዓደለና ፀጋ ሓደ ቆልዑት ምርካብ ፀገም ንኮምፒውተራትና ዩዘርስ ማንዋል አለ ንመኻይና ዩዘርስ ማንዋል አለ ንቆልዑት ዩዘርስ ማንዋል የለን ካብ ሓንቲ ማህፀን ወፂኦም 3-4 ተፈላለየ ጠባያት ዝሕዙ ኣብ ርእሲኡ ዓዲ ጓና ምፂእናዮም ንሕና ልብና ብዓዲ እሳቶም ልቦም ኣብዚ ከተዕብዮም ከለካ ቀሊል ኣይኮነን ግን እዚ ጀሚርኩሞ ዘለኹም ጅማሮ ቀሊል ኣይኮነን ቆልዓ ብንእሱ ቆርበት ብርህሱ ዝብሉ ወለድና መገዲ ምርኣይ እንዲ ስለዚ ዓወትን ኣሳልጦን እምነየልኩም ስለዚ ከይተሓለልካ ምፅዓሪ ብፍቅርን እንተኣሽሙን እንድሕር ገኒሕናን ደሲጥና ንዕቢናዮም ካብ መጨረሻ ሓሚቆም ይሓምቁን እዮም How many of you understood what I said to the parents? So it means I was talking behind your backs. Okay, well, congratulations to you too. I think as parents, all what we want is the best. Some of you are in grade 8, rising freshmen in high school. Take your education in high school seriously so that college becomes a smooth sailing. Do the work up front. Study today so that you could play tomorrow. I cannot emphasize this much. As a college professor, most of the time I get a little chance to see the freshmen and sophomores. Most of the time my time is with the seniors or graduate students. But whenever I talk or I teach the lower level classes, the shakiness I see is the loose ends in high school, middle school, going all the way to elementary school. Particularly in mathematics, I could pinpoint where a student's problem is coming. So take your studies. You would not regret it seriously. Please, please, please. It is not for your parents. It is not for your children. It's for you. You won't have a good time. You won't have a good vacation. Brace, buckle up, pull up your pants up, and work hard today. You would not regret it. I'm telling you. But if you try to take the path of least resistance, we say water takes the path of least resistance. But there's a quotation that says, if you take the path of resistance, you have two choices. Either you make crooked rivers or crooked men. So you cannot succeed by avoiding challenges because challenges are what makes us better. Because your fellow peers told you the subject is hard, don't avoid it because it might be the key for your future success. So, as I said, you are diamonds. Diamond pass through pressure through heavy temperature, but it ends up being the most precious stone there is. So if you withstand the pressure, if you don't fall for peer pressure, you will be the best gems you could ever be, and you will succeed. The sky is the limit. So as parents, we believe in you. We believe in you. You could do whatever your sort of vision puts it. So aim high, and we are all here to support you. So wish you the best. Congratulations for being good audience. I wish you were much more vocal and challenging. But take care, and then some of you, who knows, I will see you at VCU. So you have an uncle there or a grandfather there. Try to look for me. I will do my best. Sasan was my best, what could I say, mentor for students. So even in high school, having a good network of people who share your values. Sanait was saying face value, I would say national values. Because sometimes I would get a better Eritrean that doesn't share my religion. He comes, she comes from the same roots. Therefore, look out for an Eritrean identity. Eritrean identity is something to be proud of. It is as precious as diamond like you. Congratulations, thank you.
Okay, I want to thank you to Education Committee and Academic Committee, and just want to call them all up here because they make this event happen, and we really want to appreciate it. Sami, can you come up here? Yeah, Samara, Martha, Naomi, Jonas, and Sasan. They make these things happen, and we just want to say thank you. So can you come up here, please? Let's go there. I want you guys to come up here. Come on. Naomi, all of you. Jonas, yourself. And Sasan. Okay. They are in academic committee and education committee and mentor. So thank you, and yeah, for all of us.
Okay, so we're gonna go to question and answering. So if anybody has any question, please write it down and give it to Sesen. Or just raise your hands if you have any questions. Okay.
Okay, so one of the questions we have from the students are, so what are some ways I can manage my time better? And this is for the three panelists. Anybody can start first. So time management, what are some ways I can manage my time better?
I would say use a calendar. I'm sure some of you guys already do, since you probably have taken a remote class or two over the past few years. But I would use a calendar. You know, if that means on your phone, that means actually having a physical calendar. Organize your time, not just the time you spend in like doing homework or like going to school, but then other extracurriculars you have too. So organize your time better, using resources you have, such as a calendar. Use, you know, journals. Use different type of, you know, software like OneNote, Word, Excel. Like, use these things to your advantage. That would probably help in terms of just like the technical aspect of managing time.
I think one thing that I learned is, like, in terms of like assignments and stuff, it's good to like estimate. It's good to estimate like how much time an assignment's gonna take, or like just to like, I always start my week by just like writing out all my assignments and like adding in, okay, this is gonna take like an hour, 2 hours, and then from there, kind of planning, prioritizing your time, prioritizing assignments, and also like breaking up assignments so that you're not doing it all at once. And I agree, like calendars are huge. I do for the semester kind of like first week you'll get your syllabus week and it's a very fun week, but also make sure that like you write down, you can create like a mass calendar for yourself of all the assignments and tests that are going to be coming up in the future and things to be aware of, and then from there you can add in your extracurriculars and everything else. But it's all about prioritizing your time, and then when you create those time blocks to study or do whatever homework it is, make sure that you're not on your phone, you're like using productive music, and you're productively using your time. So that's my advice.
Okay, thank you, guys. So I hope that helps with some time management tips. We have some financial aid questions. So one is, how much do you get paid on work study? I know that might be a tough question. And so we'll start with
So basically, it depends on the school. Usually, probably the minimum wage, but the school also much sometimes. So it can be different. Some school they can pay you $12 per hour. Some of them probably can. It depends on the school because some school they match, but at least you get the minimum with the minimum. But the school still they can match that one. So also the maximum that you can work on work study is 20 hours a week.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So we have another question. Okay. So, as someone who is going to a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution, I would like to know the experience of someone who went or is currently going there in terms of diversity, fitting in, being a black woman in STEM, women or male, just in general, but in STEM, she's asking how your experience is regarding diversity and fitting in at a PWI.
So I currently go to PWI, Villanova, and I would say it is very hard because to start, coming from Northern Virginia, I swear you'll never find this diversity anywhere else, like especially in Pennsylvania, it is non-existent. So you'll find though, there will be communities and different organizations for like people of color at PWIs. For me specifically, like nursing, we did not have a organization that had that was like specific to the experiences of like people of color, and me as a nursing major, like I needed to find that community. So I ended up like creating an org about it. So I was gonna mention that in my little speech, but at PWIs, like your voice has so much power, and what you want, because you pay to go there, you can get it. So if you need to create whatever org you need, or you need to find spaces that best fit your identity and what your needs are, you can create that, and always advocate for yourself to get that space, because you're going through a whole different experience. But the positives of it is you will find your people, because the PWI I go to is a little bit smaller, but there's still a big community of like people of color, and you'll find your friends within that group. And it's all about, again, just going to those organizations, going to putting yourself out there to really just find like who your people are. So yeah, and if you have any other questions, like just talk to me after. Yeah.
I think at PWIs they have BSUs majority of the time, Black Student Unions, but don't sleep on HBCUs.
Oh, I want to say also, yeah, I went to a PWI. Now, so for those, I think Sesson said already, it's a predominantly white institution. So basically, you're not white, but you're around a lot of, you know, white people at the school. So you want to just make sure, like, the way that I did it too is don't dim your light, right? You're not lesser, you're not this, you're not that, right? Like, you are yourself, right? You have a voice, right? You of course want to find like-minded people. That's what I did. I joined a Black Awareness Society. I joined a bunch of other clubs, but I didn't let my identity stop me from doing something I wanted to do. And then also, if they don't have it at your school, look at the town you're in, look at the city you're in, right? I was always like volunteering. I was outside of Philly, so I would volunteer. I would do whatever I could to be involved in the larger community outside of school, but still be involved with the people in the clubs, and just not letting that impact how you go about learning.
Oh, and actually, at a lot of universities, there's Eritrean student associations, which I was a part of. I forgot. So, yeah, that's a good thing.
Let me say a little bit. Predominantly white, predominantly black shouldn't matter if you believe in yourself. Period. Because you are there to go to study. Yes, as human beings we are social, but you only remember we're talking about believing in ourselves, not caring how other people. So they could be. I teach, technically speaking, VCU has 15% African Americans as students, but the faculty is not that. That doesn't intimidate me. As long as I do my job, try to ignore, move on. When I went to Michigan as a student, fresh out of Africa, in a small town called Kalamazoo, there were 3 Eritreans and none of them were students in the whole city. There were no African Americans in the graduate schools I was sitting. But from back Eritrea, I had learned that I am a human being as equal as anybody. They might be white, I might be black. They might speak English, I speak Tigrinya. So believe in yourself and you would have an easy time. Otherwise, the moment you try to classify yourself, I am black, they are white, I am African, they are Caucasian, you are calling yourself for a trouble. And believe that there's another stuff. If you do well in your classes, people, whether white, angels or devils, they would come and surround you because they need your help. So it's a little bit tough talk that I am making. But believe in yourself and nothing else would matter. Because everybody would respect you for who you are, whether they like it or not. So that's why we should believe in ourselves. We should have self-confidence. Otherwise, it's nice to have these clubs, but we should never be forgetful of what we have inside. This country is rocking left and right because of color. They would give you lip service, DEI, so on and so forth. Eventually, it's who you are that matters, not surround. So networking is good, socially, academically, professionally. I'm all for it. But at the end, you are in control of yourself, your own destiny. So don't get intimidated. You cannot change the demographics. It's like that. If you go deep south in Virginia, not only the population, but the attitudes are going to be like that. But I shouldn't be bothered by the attitudes I see from teachers. And I have a big surprise for you. You are going to go into these schools. Unfortunately, the best schools are going to be PWIs. Predominantly of your professors are going to be there. But one thing is certain, no matter how racist a professor is, no matter how racist a teacher is, an administrator is, at the end, if a student is confident, they will come and bow down for you. So believe in that, believe in yourself, and everything is going to be not smooth, but you will jump over it and you will pass it. So that's it.
feel like I can add my 2 cents on this as well, since I did go to VCU, which is predominantly white, and then I go to Howard University, which is HBCU, so it's historically black university, and so I've been in both worlds. But I think going to VCU, even though it is a PWI, coming from, I went to Lake Braddock High School, and that's like very white, very mainly white high school. It was kind of a culture shock to go to VCU to see all these different kinds of people. And majority of the diversity, was stated, a lot of them are from Nova or Northern Virginia. Everybody else is either from the South, and they're either black or white. But any other cult, like Indian, Asian, Habesha, all from Northern Virginia. So it's like we all came together to go down to VCU. But as for black women in STEM, I did find there were a lot of organizations at VCU. I would say I really enjoyed going there because it was a very diverse university. Probably the most Habeshas at any university. Maybe it's changed, but I also had I thought it was cool that we are one of the only ones that have the essay, right? Eritrean Student Association. Most other universities have it combined with Ethiopian Student Association. It's not just, one on its own, but at VCU we have our own. And so that club within itself helped me make friends, and just friends I still have now, because like I said, we all came from Northern Virginia. So, and also I joined this pre-health honors fraternity called Delta Epsilon Mu. And so everyone there is a pre-health route, whether it's pre-med, pre-dental, pre-pharmacy. So there are, and it was diverse enough. There are more Eastern Asians, but in general, there are organizations for whatever you're interested in. And just find your people. Like Dr. Gideon said, it doesn't matter, but as long as someone is good within the inside, it doesn't matter, what they look like on the outside. So you'll do good, don't worry. So with our next question was, can you please say some things about TikTok or any social media effect? And then on top of that, I just wanted to add, Sene, just add what you majored in as well. Okay.
I majored in rehabilitation with a concentration in behavioral studies. And social media in general, I don't do TikTok, but social media in general, I'm gonna tell you a little story, right? I got on social media real late, and I will never forget, I was 25, and I never cared about celebrating a birthday. That wasn't a big deal to me. In my household, it wasn't a big deal. And so I downloaded Instagram that same year, and I saw everybody was, with the big 25 numbers, doing all of these big things for their 25th birthday. And when my birthday came around for the first time in my life, I was feeling sad. I'm like, why do I feel sad? I never felt sad before. My birthday would come and would go, and it was not a problem. I thank God for another year, that's it. It's not a big deal. I never felt like it was a big deal. You know why I felt sad? Because I was comparing my life to other people. And as much as we try to tell ourselves so many times, oh, I just be doing me, I don't care, I don't compare myself. We do. Every single person compares to the next person. Some, it affects them a little worse. Some, they catch it and they're like, hey, why am I comparing myself to this person? But yeah, so just be careful with social media. Everybody knows this. Everybody talks about how try to limit your time. Because I'm sure who here has woke up one day, or maybe got home from school and you got on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, right? And maybe, what time do you guys usually get home from school? 3 something, right? Okay. So you get home and you sit down, lay on your bed, on the couch, whatever, and you're scrolling, and then you look up, and next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock. Your eyes bloodshot red, you did nothing, you accomplished nothing, and all you're doing is just looking at, all you did was laugh. You laughed your life away, and that was it. You're never gonna get, one thing my dad tells me all the time. Can anybody tell me what the only thing in life you can never get back? There's only one thing. Time, right? Exactly. The last minute that just passed, I'm never gonna get that back. The 3 hours that I wasted, well, I'm guilty of it. I do it sometimes too. I wake up I did it today. What am I talking about? I'm just being real, like, but then I have to tell myself, like, yo, I can't look at this. Like, I need to do something more, like, I just do something. I don't even care. Like, go outside. Which I don't know. Did you guys grow up going outside? Because our generation, we went outside. And I don't think you guys go outside. Do you guys go outside? That's a question. You guys do? You guys enjoy like walking outside and stuff? Yes. So once you catch yourself on social media for too long, I think they even have like little timers that you can put on it now, where you can like track your activity, how long you've been on it, or whatever. Try to limit your time. And it's hard. It's hard. Try to come up with some hobbies, because for a lot of us with this what generation are you guys? Z? No, what are they? No, are they X? Z? You guys are Gen Z? Yeah, okay, yeah. So for y'all Gen Zers, like I feel like that is like your hobby, is being on TikTok, making the little dances and doing all of that. So just try to be aware of all the time that you're spending on there. When you look up and you see that 3 hours was spent on social media, maybe try to reduce it by 1 tomorrow. You understand? Everybody understand? All right, just be mindful of it. And don't compare. It happens. Please raise your hand if you've never compared yourself to someone on social media. Never, like you never compared yourself. Okay, so every single person in here has compared themselves and or their life at some moment in time to someone on social media. Thank you for being honest. So yes, so just be aware, try to limit your time on there, and maybe set those things. There's things you can put on there. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Can anybody tell me what that is? No?
It controls your screen time.
Is that what it is? It's something like that. I don't know exactly what it's called, but yeah. So if you overexpose today, try to consciously use it less tomorrow. We good? Yeah. All right. No.
Okay, so finally our last question. This is for all members. So how did mental health impact you in school? So I guess they're asking a bit more specific. How did mental health impact you in school?
Mental health was something that, like, as Sunday mentioned earlier, like it's not really talked about when you grow up, and so like just it was also during like COVID time, like classes were just really hard, and I just like became very clouded, and I realized like again I would use social media, or there was just so much going on with COVID. It was really hard to stay present and like just go about my day, and I just sometimes just didn't feel myself, and I was just very like upset. And so like for me, that's why I speak about resources a lot, because like I went to the counseling center and I talked to people, and it's just like getting that third perspective outside of your family is just so important, because sometimes you just need someone to just listen to, and like you need a listening ear, and not really need a response, just like just someone to like hear what you have to say. So I think it's just important really to constantly like check in on yourself. Like when you spend hours on TikTok and you're just like, just on your phone or just like busy with school and stuff, just like take a second, really check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing okay. Even like drinking water, like during the day, like make sure you're drinking water, make sure you eat a meal. Sometimes you go throughout the day and you're like, wow, I haven't had a second to eat yet, So I really am big on like being present. Like I always make sure that when I'm eating food, or like if I'm walking outside, I'll just make sure I'm actually looking outside and looking at the day, like and taking everything in, because we're just living in a time where like everything is so fast, and especially in college, like you're going through so much at like such a fast pace. Like it's really important to make sure to take a second and breathe and check in on yourself, and it's okay to not be okay, and it's important to again like have that support system in college, create friends that can listen to you, and if you feel like, again, your friends aren't there for you, you have your parents, you have counselors, just know that you're not alone, like, if you're going through something mentally, and it's also just okay to acknowledge that, so that's
Um,
So last question is, what can we expect to be included in the Zara mentorship program? So the first thing we're gonna do is we've collected your information, your contact number, email and such. So if you have not included your, if you have not put in your information, please do so. Because the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna gather all of your information. We probably create like a group chat or maybe contact you individually, and we'll just ask you guys first, like, what do you look for in a mentor? You know, what kind of help do you look for? So after that, we're gonna work with Haben in his program. It'll probably be like an umbrella. They'll be like an umbrella to us, and then we'll just use their system and try to find you the best match based on your need. So that's gonna be our second moving forward. And then lastly, we have a few people in this program that are working with me and Sesan. We have Samara, Sammy, Marta is here, and Naomi. So we have a good team that we're gonna be constantly looking for programs that is gonna be based on your need. For example, we talked about robotics, if anybody's interested in that, or starting a book club for some kind of intellectual engaging. But there's many more. I mean, this is just a start. We just wanted to first kick off with this program like this and then see where that take us. And you know, the turnout is great. So yeah, just expect a reach out within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll just ask you, what are you looking for? And getting your feedback is very important too. You know, it's not just us trying to create something and then try to dump it on you, but we want to get your opinion, like your like, you know, your ideas, like what do you want from this? So just be open and expect that. So that is all we have for you today. Thank you for being patient. And like I said, this is the first of a program like this we're doing. So the next time we come together, I hope your hands work and you participate a little bit more. Okay, no more stiffness. All right, and then we'll conclude it with benefit.
Well, I hope you are happy with this program, and especially you guys, the Zara kids. I'm glad you are here. I appreciate your time. On a Saturday afternoon, come here and sit to listen. You know, it's a great commitment, so thank you so much for coming. And the second group that it has been mentioned so many times, the education committee and the Zara moms, the event coordinating committee of Zara moms. I appreciate them and the things they're doing in Kampala. But last, the speakers are great. I hope they're going to continue coming back and give us this very, very high value information. This is what people need all the time. So make sure you keep in contact with these guys, all of them. So thank you very much. Sanai, Haben, Salina, Sessin and Jonas are part of Zara. They are part of Zara board. So thank you so much. But okay. Let me tell you something. I mean, you guys have heard about Albert Einstein, right? You know Albert Einstein. Did you read about his biography? How about Thomas Edison? You know about Thomas Edison? If Thomas Edison comes today here, or Albert Einstein, and talk to you, what would you say? You will be jumping, right? Come on, sign my book, sign my paper, and stuff like that. You know, Professor Vidal is better than Albert Einstein and Thomas Edison. I'm telling you. So, Professor Vidal is a mathematician, and he is one of the top 30 mathematicians in the world. Maybe I'll bring that number to so whatever words you get from him, make sure it's deep inside in your head. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. There is some food left. Grab yourself and thank you.